back to KultureByte. I'm your fastest host alive, Kevin G, and today I'm here to talk to you about what that ending means at the end of The Flash and the post-credit scene explain. So sit back and beware of whiplash and also spoilers ahead. As we know, The Flash takes some elements of the most famous Flash story called Flashpoint, where the Flash goes back in time to prevent his mother's murder, but in doing so creates a whole new timeline, and when Flash fixes his mistake, it creates a whole new universe. This is what this movie's purpose is meant to restart the DC universe, as it's under new ownership, James Gunn and Peter Safran. In this movie, when the Flash is having a conversation with his father and it's ended abruptly, he runs super fast, which leads him to discover the Chronoborn, which looks like a coliseum from back in the gladiator days in Rome, as all significant events that have occurred in the Flash's life are all in front of him. But he knows he can't stop the killer, but can prevent his father from ever leaving the house by going back in time and getting a can of tomatoes and placing it in his mother's cart. But when Barry is attempting to make it back to his time, he is kicked out by the Dark Flash. When Barry is kicked out, he gets to reunite with his parents, but also runs into his younger self. And this is when Barry realizes that he has arrived on the day he receives his powers, or would have, as the younger Barry never lost his mother, so he didn't take an internship as a forensic scientist at CCPD, so he wouldn't be shocked by lightning or drenched in the chemicals that gave him his powers. Older Barry sets up the events that occur to give younger Barry his powers, but when the lightning strikes, it goes through older Barry and into younger Barry, and I guess you can say the same goes for older Barry's tooth and even his powers, as older Barry loses his powers in the process. When Barry is teaching Barry about his suit, we see early signs of distress as everyone starts to run away, and we learn that Zod, played by Michael Shannon, has arrived. Barry's going through the list of the Justice League but finds no one, and this is when Barry realizes that even the past was affected, as we learn that Eric Stoltz, not Michael J. Fox, starred in Back to the Future. But we learn that there is still a Batman, so Barry and Barry travel to Wayne Manor seeking help from Bruce, who we find out is Michael Keaton in this universe. After some convincing from Barry, Bruce decides to help Barry, and they discover that Superman landed in Siberia, or so they thought, as this is Clark's older cousin Kara Zor-El. They have her, but when they are finally stopped on the roof, she is soaked in the sun's rays and give us a beatdown to watch. Just one quick note here is that younger Barry says you guys should have seen that in slow mode, since his speed would have allowed him to see the fight go down. Older Barry plans on doing the same experiment to restore his own powers, and Bruce decides to help him out, but it fails until Kara returns and brings older Barry to the sky to get struck by lightning directly, and luckily it works. They all come together, fight Zod, and we learn that Clark died as an infant and that Kara is the one with the genetic code that Clark had in the Man of Steel. They all fight. It's all cool and badass, but Batman and Kara die, so younger Barry decides to run it back, and older Barry joins him in the Chrono Ball, but Batman and Kara die again, and this is when younger Barry doesn't phase correctly and has a Kryptonian metal shard stuck into his arm. But this is when older Barry starts to see that Batman and Kara, heck, even the world is supposed to end on that day, and it's like a fixed point or some sort of absolute point, if we go by the MCU terms, from that What If episode, where Doctor Strange tries to use a time stone to prevent the death of Christine Palmer, but he finds out that this is a fixed point in his timeline that set him on the path to becoming Doctor Strange. But when Doctor Strange finally has enough power to change this fixed point, the world around him starts to fall apart and leaves him on his own. So this is kind of what's happening here. Younger Barry still wants to try, as he keeps having more shards phase into him, and when older Barry is about to stop him, we see Dark Flash speeding to the Chroma Ball, and we learn that this is younger Barry that has aged up after countless times attempting to save his mother, Kara, and Bruce. And he tells older Barry that the one that is responsible for the death of their mother is him. We start to see other color chromo balls crashing into each other, which reminds me of Crisis on Infinite Earths. But we get to see a lot of cameos like George Reeves from the TV series Adventures of Superman. We also get to see Jay Garrett, who is not actually played by Teddy Sears of the CW series, but we also see that he's in his own chromo ball running. Then we see the late Christopher Reeves and Helen Slater as Supergirl. Then we hear Cesar Ramon's Joker and see a silhouette of Adam West Batman. Then something I thought we would never see, but I'm glad actually that we did, is a Nicolas Cage Tim Burton Superman come to life. As we know, there was some type of production occurring, but he's fighting this massive spider, which is not for me. It seems that all these characters exist out there in the multiverse. Heck, even the CW Flash, but sadly we didn't see him. The young Barry sacrifices himself and kills off the Dark Flash. Then all the Earths start to reside back after they've crashed. Maybe they left someone behind, but Barry runs it back to the moment he changed. He has one last moment with his mom, and when he restocks the can, he can see the camera that his dad didn't look up at. So he ranges the cans high enough so his dad will look up now when he reaches for the can. So now there's evidence that Barry's dad did not kill his own mother and will be let go from prison, hopefully. After the trial, we see that Bruce is calling, and when we see the car pull up, we don't see Ben Affleck, but we see that it's now George Clooney's Batman. Barry's confused and asks, "You're Batman?" And Bruce tells him, "What's the matter with you?" And then Barry's tooth falls out after he glued it on earlier. Now we have just one post-credit scene, just one. We see Barry and Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry stumbling out of a bar, and Barry's trying to explain the three Batmen, all three different guys, and Arthur asks, "In another timeline, I'm the same?" And Arthur falls into a puddle, and when Barry tells him that he lives right upstairs, Arthur tells him, "Barry, I live right here," as he pats the water. Arthur requests another beer and gives Barry an Atlantean treasure to pay for it, but Barry just pockets the treasure. Now, what does this all mean? Well, technically, if you think about it, George is playing the same Bruce as Michael Keaton, as they are all in the same universe, just not played by the same actors. So this movie ends with Barry not on his original Earth, maybe because the way he rearranged the shelf when he put back the tomatoes, or perhaps when Barry interacted with his mother. Maybe something he said to her. Now, James Gunn has said that with this movie, it will reset the DCU, and that Blue Beetle will be the first of his characters to return from the first chapter of DC, and that Superman Legacy will be the actual first movie of that universe. And with Andy Muschietti now set to helm the Batman the Brave and the Bold, which Bruce has a son, could we possibly see the return of George Clooney to play this universe's Batman? I highly doubt it. Also, I do not think when the Earths were colliding, they were colliding to each other. There's a chance that there was a certain characters that were left on this Earth, or like potentially swapped out. Maybe that's why we still have Jason Momoa as Aquaman, especially with Aquaman 2 right around the corner. I really wonder how like that story is going to really work into James Gunn's plan. But hey, I'm going to be here trying to break it all down for you as best as I can. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and let me know what you guys think about the way it ended and just overall what you guys think. Also, if you guys want to support this channel, please leave a like on this video, hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Kev Guy, and follow KultureByte on Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.